Welcome to the BEASTwriter family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be discussing the San Francisco 49ers versus Philadelphia Eagles matchup. We're also going to touch base on the Pittsburgh Steelers as they lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. And obviously, we're going to talk about the report around the NFL as it pertains to the quarterback situation. Obviously, a few guys got banged up. Tyrod Taylor got banged up. Deshaun Watson's not playing. If you guys haven't reported that or heard that before, Ian Rapsheet reported that he is not playing despite Tyrod Taylor being out. All right, so a lot of things going on. Obviously, Tua Tagovailoa also banged up. It's a problem that he's been having since his Bama days, but we're just going to go ahead and talk about the San Francisco 49ers. We're just going to let people roll in, and then we're going to go ahead and start the discussion on that. So again, if you guys have any questions for me here in the BEASTwriter family, be sure to send those super chat and super stickers. It really keeps us on topic and really gets us trending in the right direction. And so as we, I'm looking at my text messages. So as we go ahead and talk football, we're going to go ahead and break it down. I'm just waiting for people to glitter. The first month of the NFL season is on me. So you guys aren't paying for any of that. That's just free information for all of you guys. If you guys play fantasy football, which a lot of you guys do, I have a 77.8% success rate on the Q&A questions that are being asked on Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord server, please be sure to do that, because again, you're going to find what we have there is firsthand news. I break a lot of stories just exclusively on Discord from my BWF family and my BWF network. So you guys are going to want to know. And then I cross-check everything I have to say. Be like, oh, yeah, cool story, bro. Really? Did you really say that? Yes. That's why Monday Morning Quarterback is there. I've been doing this since day one. I'm just revamping it. So again, one of my buddies at NFL Network said, hey, Ryan, you really need to start your BEASTwriter Plus membership and subscription-based newsletter because of the fact, like, you have a lot to offer. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm going to do it. And so here we are today. Subscriptions are going through the roof. Can't thank everyone enough. Really paying the bills. So again, I want to do this as my 9 to 5, but obviously it has to pay the bills. And this subscription-based newsletter is actually doing that, along with all you guys here on YouTube and all my other social media outlets as Twitch TV, Discord, obviously, and a few other social media platforms that we're on. So respectively speaking, we are doing extremely well, especially in 2021. So again, mahalo for all the love and support. Just be sure to spread the word to all your family and friends as we continue to grow the BEASTwriter Plus membership. All right. So again, if you guys want to know what I had to say about the Niners, you guys can just go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter. Just go to the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter right here. Just open this up in a new web browser. Make sure you put the www in front of it. www.beastwriternfl.com. All right. And we will go ahead and get started as we talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and San Francisco 49ers matchup. Obviously, it was a game where, gosh, it was an ugly win. It was an ugly win. It was kind of back and forth, something I predicted in the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. In my game day preview, my 4th and goal preview, if you guys read that, I put it up there. Again, it's free right now for all you guys. So check that out. And then check what I had to say in hindsight, right? And that's what the Monday Morning Quarterback is. But on this special edition, we are going to talk about exactly what happened. Well, the Niners defense just single-handedly won this game for them. I mean, D'Amico Ryans and that San Francisco 49ers defense held Jalen Hurts in check for the majority of the game, and they really did their part. The Eagles couldn't do anything, right? And I think we saw this going into the game. Something I predicted was I said it was going to be a defensive struggle. And then people on Twitter are like, man, I read your BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. You said it was going to be a defensive struggle. Yeah. So if you followed me on the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter, you won money. All right. Now, for entertainment purposes, technically, if you were to place a bet, but you're not betting. But anyways, you guys know what I'm saying here. All right. So the Niners defense really kept him in this game. The 49ers offense they had some drives. I mean, yeah, that 97-yard drive late in the quarter, or sorry, late in the game, with Jimmy Garoppolo, then ending it in the tail end of the first half by throwing 11-yard touchdown reception to Javon Jennings. His first catch of his NFL career ends up being a touchdown. But Deebo Samuel, yeah, Leads the NFL in receiving yards. Great for Deebo Samuel. But what about George Kittle? What about my fantasy football stud, George Kittle? I mean, he's only targeted 4 times. Racks up what was it? 4 catches for 17 yards or whatever it was. How many times was George Kittle targeted? I think he was only targeted not very many. Let's see. George Kittle, only targeted 4 times. Got 4 receptions out of it, so 100% catch rate for only 17 yards, which is a 4.3 yards per catch. I mean, come on. You have to get George Kittle somewhat involved in the offense. And I don't care if he's double covered. I mean, look at guys like Travis Kelce from the Kansas City Chiefs. Look at him last night. He's box coverage 2-by-1. Look at Darren Waller. He was force-fed the ball in the Monday night matchup last week. And then again against the Pittsburgh Steelers where they did a 2-by-1 coverage with a cover 3 safety. And in that cover 3 look with a single high safety sometimes in that cover 1. Or Minka Fitzpatrick kind of came screaming down to take on that 2-by-1 coverage. But at the end of the day, they still force-fed him the ball at times. I mean, you have to get your best players the ball. You have to give George Kittle the ball. You cannot go away from George Kittle. Now, I'm not saying if he's triple coverage, throw it in triple coverage. I'm not saying if he's double covered, force the ball in double cover. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, more times than not, even if George Kittle is double covered, he can find the separation at the top of his route to get open and make big plays down the field. Moving the chains, whatever the case may be. You guys seen it. We all know this. That's why he's arguably the best tight end in the NFL. I don't know what else to say. I have no else to say. But it's one of those things where it's like, hey, bro, like, is George Kittle just going to be used as a decoy at this point? I mean, come on. Like, what are you doing? Every game, you should anticipate George Kittle getting at least 10 targets a game. At least 10 targets a game. Because if you're not, you're doing yourself a disservice. Why have a guy as a decoy where he's targeted only 4 times throughout the game and only ends up with 17 yards total? Now, again, I'm not saying for George Kittle to be force-fed the ball in a sense where if he's triple coverage or even double covered and you know he can't get the ball because the passing window isn't there and he is basically blanketed on both sides of his coming off his stem. But what I am saying is you have to give him more targets than freaking 4 targets a game. That's 1 a quarter. So George Kittle was only targeted once per every quarter yesterday. Does anyone else see anything wrong with this? I don't know. I just think this is ridiculous. And Grand Riser, what's going on, man? How you doing? We have a lot of stuff going on here. And again, if you guys are just following us or just tuning in, subscribe to my BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. Just open up a new web browser. Go to www.beastwriternfl.com. You get everything I have to say in real time, my in-depth analysis, fantasy football, advice. Obviously, we're going to do prop bets as well for entertainment purposes only. But go ahead and see what the hype is about as we're racking up subscriptions. And again, I want to do this as my 9 to 5. So again, if you guys have any questions or any concerns, just so we stay on topic during the NFL season, we are going to be using super chats and super stickers. So if you guys aren't familiar with the super chat or super sticker function here on YouTube, it's a money icon that you see on your web browser inside the chat. Just go ahead and click on that and you can put whatever donation you want to say. And then if you have a question, it'll pop up here and I'll be able to go ahead and answer your question. So again, this is just for us to stay on topic because again, we have a lot of things to talk about. Some good news is, or big news, I should say, is I'll be on a Chicago radio station bi-weekly. So every two weeks, I'll be on this show. And we're going to talk about, it's called the Asian Sports Fan. So basically, we're going to talk about AAPI. We're going to talk about, obviously, they're based in Chicago. So I'm going to be talking about the Chicago Bears. There's some Cleveland Brown fans out there. So I'll be talking the Cleveland Browns on top of the 49ers, on top of the Steelers. So that's going to be happening at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every 2 weeks starting today. So I'm really looking forward to that. And they really want to know my insight as to the Chicago Bears, Cleveland Browns, San Francisco 49ers, Pittsburgh. You know, we cover all 32 here. And it's interesting how they found me. I don't even know how they found me, but the director or the producer or one of the guys from, or workers or something like that from Awful Announcing found me. And he's like, you know what? They thought I'd be a good fit for what they're trying to do and build over there back east. So I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I'm all about the good vibes only here in the BEASTwriter family. All right. So we have a lot of people. Look at from Mexico. I see you. What is going on? Okay. 2-0 after 2 NFC road wins. Daniel Jr. Middleton says, good morning, Beast. What do you think about the 49ers running back situation? Yes, let's go ahead and talk about that running back situation. The running back situation, if you guys haven't heard by yet, does that even make sense? Heard by yet. If you guys haven't heard the news, obviously Trey Sherman went down with a concussion. If you follow me on Discord, which I'll put up right here, I already posted the news on Trey Sherman. He is going to be out indefinitely because he's going to be entering the concussion protocol. For those who are wondering what the concussion protocol is, subscribe to my BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. Also join us on Discord. We're going to provide everything as it takes and the 5-step process of what it takes to and for a player to return to full 100% health and be eligible to play in the upcoming week's game. Now, with Trey Sherman, you have to go through some neurological tests. Obviously, you have to make sure that everything's in line and kind of streamlined there before you even take the practice field, right? And then you kind of go through football movements. You kind of have to see a doctor, and he assesses the situation based on how he feels that player is doing. Obviously, aside from the actual team's physician, and you get an independent study there and independent professional review. And then after that, both sides agree, hey, this player can go or this player can't go. That determination will be made after that 5-step process. So if you guys want to see what I had to say about that, join us on Discord, join us in the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. This is the type of insight that you're going to get. And let's just talk about that. So that's starting with Trey Sherman, right? Concussion. And then you had Elijah Mitchell, right? He had what's considered a stinger. People said it's a shoulder injury, but usually when you have stingers, I had stingers when I played. It's really just, it's a pain. It's a sharp pain, shooting pain, like right down here from your neck. It can go all the way down here. It's just like a sharp pain, and it's no fun. It really, it hurts. It hurts. I mean, just thinking about it, it hurts. It really limits your mobility. Stingers are no fun. Stingers are no fun, and they can be lingering. But if it's just a stinger, I think Elijah Mitchell will be fine. Football injuries, stingers happens all the time, all right? And then you have obviously some other guys that have been banged up. So the running back depth is not looking strong right now. Obviously, I wrote the injury report up on Twitter. There's a lot of guys that are injured right now as it pertains to the running back position. And then the next question remains to be seen, right? Who is going to step up to the plate? I mean, really, what's running back out there? You can plug and play me at running back, which I talked about to my boy Randy Miller on Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, and I said you could plug me at running back and I'd get 1,000 yards. Joking, but kind of not, because think about it. And you can plug a 300-pound lineman in Kyle Shanahan's offense as a running back, and he'll at least pick up 2.8 yards per carry, just because of the fact, like, it's a zone blocking scheme. The runs are already dictated for you. You're running outside zone runs. So you're blocking a certain area. You're not necessarily blocking mano a mano in what we call a power-based run scheme. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different in terms of that regard, in terms of scheme. Now, I will say this. I will say that they're hurting, because at the end of the day, you do need a running back to hit that hole. And speed is going to be of the utmost importance. But at the end of the day, you really have to look at it like this. Like, okay, which running backs out there logically can be the next man up? Second of all, how much blame do you put on the strength and conditioning program for all these injuries happening? I mean, obviously concussions, okay, you cannot blame. That happens. But groin injuries, adductor injuries. I mean, look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, if you're going to talk about one team, you have to know what's going to happen around and know about the pulse of all the other 31, right? Look at what happened yesterday. Devin Bush, groin injury, out. He wasn't even playing in that game, okay? Joe Hayden, groin injury, out. TJ Watt suffered a groin injury right before the second half, or right before the first half ended. He was ruled out for the remainder of the game. The Steelers are very smart in that they don't allow their players to play in games when they know a groin injury can be a lingering long-term injury. I talked about this on the BEASTwriter Plus. This is nothing new. I talked about this on the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. Again, you guys want to know what a adductor injury is? That's a groin injury more times than not. So Eric Armstead's adductor injury, that's a groin injury, bro. Why don't you just call it a groin injury? More times than not, it is. Just saying. So you guys got to read between the lines, and luckily you guys have me to do this because, again, people don't know what an adductor is. Let's be honest. Anybody says, oh, it's a adductor injury. And then they just tweet it out, and that's it. No. When I saw that immediately, because I'm NASM trained, I'm like, nah, dude, that's a groin injury. That's a groin injury. Furthermore, Tyson Alu, for all you Pittsburgh Steelers fans, he is now out with a fractured ankle, similar to what Ronnie Stanley had last year, right? Remember when Ronnie Stanley for the Baltimore Ravens went down the blind side left tackle? That's what prompted Orlando Brown Jr. from the right side, moving over to the right side from Oklahoma product, over to the left side, then wanted left tackle money. Now Ronnie Stanley's back in 2021. Orlando Brown Jr. is now shipped off to the Kansas City Chiefs. We saw it last night. And here we are today. Tyson Alu, division rival of the Pittsburgh Steelers, now suffered a fractured ankle, suffered on the fourth play of scrimmage. And it doesn't look good for him. I mean, Tyson Alu is the plug-and-play nose tackle. He's the one that makes that engine go in that 34-base defense. If you don't have a strong 34-base nose guard or nose tackle, you're not going to be able to play that 34-base. I'm being serious. You cannot transition and play a 34-base without a guy like Tyson Alu taking up multiple blockers at the same time. I'm not talking about a 3-4 defensive end playing the 4 technique or the 3 technique or even the 2Y technique. I'm talking the guy man in the middle, the 0 technique, the 1 technique. That guy is going to be a huge blow to the Steelers defense. And honestly, when you have Tyson Alu out, when you have defensive end Stephon Tuitt, my 2020 first team All-Pro selection for PFWA, Pro Football Writers Association, as Javier in voting rights, Stephon Tuitt hasn't even played this year. So you're missing 2 of your 3 first-team All-Pros in my grading system out for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you expect to have success with guys like Henry Mondo? No. That's a no. Isaiah Buggs, roll tide roll. I like you, Isaiah Buggs, but now you're not going to get it done. Isaiah Ludermelk, who they drafted in the 2021 NFL draft, he might get it done. But is he going to replicate that type of protection? No. And then they got Chris Wormley, who they got via trade from the Baltimore Ravens, an unlikely trading partner. He was asked to play the 3-4 defensive end position inside for Tuitt. Now that Tyson Alu is gone, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Wormley manned the middle. I don't think Cam Hayward's going to take that spot because I think what he does well is he lines up at that 3-4 defensive end position and that 4-3-eye technique. I can see that there are 2-eye technique or 3 technique. I see him being lined up there. So I don't see him being moved off the spot because he's too valuable on the outside there. But Chris Wormley, you might be the next man up. Isaiah Buggs, you're definitely up there. So Carlos Davis, who was out yesterday, he might be the next man up. They're going to have to play a game of musical chairs there. But with that being said, interesting to point out. And again, going back to the Niners, yeah, Deebo Samuel is leading the NFL in receiving yards, which is good. And it's funny. The same fans who are praising Deebo Samuel are the same fans on Twitter and on Facebook who are saying, trade Deebo Samuel for Deshaun Watson. And I was like, nah, we're not going to do that. Go back and see what people said about Deebo Samuel. Just search it in Twitter. Deebo Samuel, Deshaun Watson. Everyone's like, all the Niner fans, not all, I would say a good 65, 70%. Deebo Samuel's injury prone. He's not worth it. And I'm like, nah, dude, calm down, dude. I spoke to his strength and conditioning coach in the offseason. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And people are like, no, he's injury prone. Let's get Deshaun Watson. I'm like, nah, let's not do that. Let's not do that. And those same fans are like, I knew Deebo Samuel can do it. I'm like, nah. Everything's in hindsight, but the receipts check out more times than not. If you go back and see their receipts, more fans were like, nah, let's trade Deebo Samuel. Let's trade Nick Bosa, who had 2 sacks. Let's trade Nick Bosa as a package deal for Deshaun Watson. Let's trade both Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa for Deshaun Watson. And I was like, nah, and I tweeted it out, got good feedback from some Niner fans on Twitter. You don't trade homegrown talent, bro. You just don't do it. Just don't do it. And here we are today. All right. So with that being said, again, if you guys have any questions, be sure to send me those super chat and super stickers. That's how we will be doing this moving forward. So we keep on topic and on track. It's Tony Nakatani, one of my loyal followers here in the BEASTwriter family. He is also one of our subscribers in the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. And Tony, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on what you like about the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. I think it's legit. Obviously, you pay for it every month. You think it's legit. Obviously, you wouldn't be paying for the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. Let me know what your thoughts are, obviously, because at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that are paying my bills. So I want to know if you guys want something more of, or if you guys want something less of. You guys tell me, and I can kind of turn my focus based on what you guys want. This is all for you guys. All right. All right. Tony says Kittle looked good in the run game, but that don't score fantasy points. Yeah, it does not score fantasy points. And again, George Kittle's on my fantasy football team. And I said on Twitter, I'm hoping him and Brandon Ayuk will shine out under the lights against the Green Bay Packers, because I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be a big. I'm looking for Brandon Ayuk to go over 100 yards and George Kittle to go over 100 yards. One of those two guys is going to go over 100 yards, have 7 or 8 catches, and score at least 1 touchdown. I'm just saying it right now. I'm telling you right now, at least that's what I hope, because they're on my fantasy team. No, but all honesty, I keep it 100. I think one of those two guys is going to have a huge game, and ultimately, one of those guys is going to get open on the daily against the Green Bay Packers. Now, Jair Alexander is the best graded cornerback in my grading system. Graded out 8.2, was my first team All-Pro selection for PFWA, but at the end of the day, it's almost like this. You know, they play zone more times than not. Rarely do they go man. And if they do go man, whether it's a cover 1 single high safety man underneath, or even a cover 2 man underneath, 2 deep man, or what's it called, 2 deep free, what's called 2-man game, I should say. I'm gathering my thoughts here, but you know, the Packers are not the same Packers team that we were accustomed to seeing over the course. I mean, they're on the downward slide, and we're going to see it tonight on Monday Night Football. How they're going to look. I mean, they ain't look very good last week against the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers of the age he is now. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers being a huge factor. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is not going to be good. He's going to definitely be good. But it was just surprising how he's playing in the last year of his contract, and he just kind of threw up that what the hell moment. Tony Nagatani, what do you think? Thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker. Mahalo, my man. Again, if you guys have any questions, you're going to go straight to the top of the list. And we're just going to stay on track, because again, this is how I pay my bills. Like, I want to do this as my 9 to 5, but I have to pay bills. Tony Nagatani, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker. So if you have a question, do what Tony did and send me these super chat and super stickers. That way it shows up right here, and I can just boom, pop it up, and here we go. All right. Tony Nakatani says, what do you think about the Packers run defense? How about the Packers offensive line? Well, let me tell you something. Let's start with the Packers offensive line. David Bakhtiari has been out. That's a huge blow. They lost Corey Linsley, the offensive center. He's now off and shipped out to the LA Chargers, who I don't even know why LA Chargers even has a team, because every time a game is played, it's a home team fan base for the visiting team. Like, the Chargers are on the road 17 games out of the year. Horrible. But anyways, that's for another discussion. Even Cam Hayward talked about this. He's like, dude, anytime you play in LA, literally it's a home game for the visiting team. Like, that's just how it is. So anyways, Corey Linsley now off to the LA Chargers. What else did they got there? They got Elton Jenkins, who I really like. I think he's a really good, underrated player. They have a few other pieces in play there. But that's 3 over 5 offensive linemen right there, right off the top of my head. I don't think they're as strong as in years past. I think they're going to suffer a little bit because of the fact, like, they didn't really do anything. Like, I already did my draft grades, right? If you want to see my draft grades on the Green Bay Packers, you can see what I had to say about their draft. I thought they didn't do extremely well. I thought they kind of reached for Eric Stokes coming out of Georgia in the first round. And I think Aaron Rodgers was kind of like, what the heck? All I have is Devontae Adams, bro. I need someone better than Marquez Valdez-Scantling, bro. Come on. But let's go ahead and pull it up. Let's pull up the depth chart right now, because, again, that way I can give you guys a better gauge. But that's just off the top of my head right now. Obviously, we're looking at the Green Bay Packers offensive line. The running game cannot have any future success without a stable offensive line in front. Obviously, it will make teams one-dimensional if you can't establish the run or the pass. And then defenses can key in on that scheme that you're playing, because if you can't do one or the other, odds are you'll be becoming one-dimensional. All right, so yeah, Elton Jenkins moving over from guard over to the left side, the blindside left tackle, subbing in for David Bakhtiari, Lucas Patrick, John Runyon. For those who don't know who John Runyon is, his father played in the NFL. But John Runyon, coming out of Michigan, Jim Harbaugh guy, he's okay. He's decent. But he's not even starting. So there you go there. Josh Myers, who they picked up, I believe they picked him up out of the Ohio State University, the center. I thought Creed Humphrey would have been a better sound play there. I thought they reached for Eric Stokes again. They could have went Creed Humphrey. They could have even went Landon Dickerson from the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, I know Landon Dickerson's been injury prone with a torn ACL. Talked about this earlier and how he had other injuries throughout his career. But those two players would have been sound players. Josh Myers is okay. He's decent. But again, you're replacing a first-team All-Pro and Corey Linsley. How's that going to translate? It doesn't. And then you have Royce Newman. Billy Turner is good. I like Billy Turner coming out of college as the right tackle. But Royce Newman, So basically what I'm saying is the 49ers should dominate the Green Bay Packers. The 49ers should dominate the Green Bay Packers. In fact, Nick Bosa should have another 2-sack game. In fact, here's a storyline that I don't think anybody's talking about. I'm just going to think outside the box here and put this out there as one of my bold predictions. Nick Bosa, in his first 3 games of action, will have at least 5.5 sacks through the first 6 games. 5.5 sacks through the first 3 games. You're looking at him right now. What is he at? I think he's at 3.5 right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had 2 more sacks in Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers. Literally, someone's going to be eating. If it's not him, it should be Eric Armstead. I mean, he should have at least a sack by now. And I don't know why PFF grades him as one of the highest quarterback pressure. Nah, bro, not my grading system. And it's funny. Like, I think that's laughable. But whatever. I think Javon Kinlaw is going to eat. I mean, he looks like he's not 100%. I mean, I saw a play. I was watching the game here when Jalen Hurts was scrambling. He kind of just hobbled down the sideline. I'm not sure if he's 100% healthy. Now he showed a lot of heart and he played, which is great. That's a great sign. But is he 100% healthy? I'm not so sure. So hopefully he can return to health next week and pick up a couple sacks. Because again, I have high expectations for Javon Kinlaw. Obviously, we all know what's going to happen with D Ford. He needs to eat too. A lot of these players need to start eating, other than Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa can't be a one-man show, because again, without Nick Bosa, and people are saying, "Oh, trade Nick Bosa for Deshaun Watson." I'm like, nah, you don't trade your homegrown talent, bro. But yeah, that run defense is going to be stout. I think the Packers are in trouble. But at the end of the day, I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he can just air it out. He can manipulate the pocket how he sees fit. So it's going to be one of those games where we really don't know how that's going to be going. Interesting take there. Tony says Los Angeles won't have homegrown fans for another 15 years. Chargers or Rams, teams that travel fans will take over SoFi. Yeah, unfortunately, that is very true. That is very true. And in all honesty, the LA Rams, it should be called, I don't know, like the Los Angeles 49ers, because every time the Niners play there, it's a home game for the 49ers. When I went to San Diego State, right? Truth be told, during the Drew Brees era and the LT days, and I was actually LT's neighbor when I lived up in Poway. Little fun fact. Yeah. So anyways, when I lived up in Poway, there was a lot of San Diego Chargers fans because they were winning. The Chargers were winning. All right. And when the Chargers were winning, it made life a lot easier. What happened was when the Chargers weren't winning, they kind of fall off. They're not like a 49ers fan base or a Steelers fan base or an Eagles fan base or even a Browns fan base where teams stick with you through the thick and thin. The LA Chargers fans kind of teeter-totter the fence. You got to remember, in LA, it was at Los Angeles Raiders. Remember? When Jerry Rice broke that record at Candlestick, they were named the LA Raiders, right? So you have the LA Raiders and the LA Rams. You have these BLA signs that were given out around Candlestick during the era, but it's always been a team fan base that was kind of like, It's not like the Lakers, right? It's not like the Lakers. So it's very sad. Daka Tumule, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker, and mahalo for the love and support. I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, do what Tony Nagatani, do what Daka Tamule is doing, and send me those super chat and super stickers. He says, your thoughts on using Lance? Well, I think Trey Lance is being used extremely well. I think you don't want to rush him into the offense too early. I know there's people that are saying, he should be the starter. No, he shouldn't be the starter. Not right now. Not right now. We saw what happened with Jimmy Garoppolo there. Now, with that being said, I think Trey Lance is going to be slowly incorporated in the offense. I think Kyle Shanahan was kind of saving Trey Lance for the Sunday Night Football game. I think you're going to see a lot more Trey Lance in the Sunday Night Football game under the lights. Trey Lance is going to be used in a lot of zone read plays, right? And he's also going to be used for short goal line situations. I think you're going to see this more times than not. So it's 4th and goal, or 4th and short, 4th and 1, 4th and 3, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. You're going to see Trey Lance rolled in there. Maybe on the 3rd and 6, depending on the down and distance and where they're at positionally, based on draft position, and kind of see where they are, where they're at in terms of the scoreboard. You're going to see maybe more Trey Lance as the year goes on and the year progresses. But as of right now, I like how they're using Trey Lance and not throwing him into the fire. And we saw it yesterday against the Chicago Bears, where Justin Fields, people were like, you need to start Justin Fields. You need to start Justin Fields. You need to start Justin Fields. You need to start Justin. You need to start. And then what happened? If you guys watch that game, I'm going to talk about this again on the Chicago Bears. I'm going to be on the air with the Chicago Bears radio station over at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But we've seen what I'm going to bring my analysis there. I'm going to watch the game film and be like, hey, look, this is what I saw on his passes, man. This is what I saw going through his progressions. This is why he's a rookie. This is why you can't just rush a quarterback into the fire. Now, if you're a Mac Jones and can make the proper reads, go through your progressions, then yeah. And I said this since day one, the Beast Receipts check out. If you follow me on YouTube, if you follow me on the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter, if you follow me on Discord, if you follow me on Twitch, you would know I said this since day one. I said Mac Jones is the most NFL-ready quarterback to come out of this draft class. From day one, I said it. Go check out the receipts. They check out. Mac Jones is the reason why he's on my fantasy football team. He's my starting quarterback. He's like Terrell, he's my quarterback. No, but you guys get what I'm saying, man. This is why you guys follow the Beast Receipts checkout. And again, I like how they're using Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is going to be an excellent dual threat quarterback in the NFL under Kyle Shanahan's scheme. I think Kyle Shanahan is doing the right thing and basically not throwing them into the fire and just letting Jimmy Garoppolo let that take place. Let Jimmy Garoppolo build his own plot there, whether good or bad, right? Let them lay the foundation for what the team has moving forward, because at the end of the day, that locker room is split on who they want as their starting quarterback. Obviously, we know what George Kittle wants. So, yeah, that's my thoughts there. Fortnite's Ultimate Report says, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker. Says, he just sent me a super sticker. Thank you so much, Fortnite's Ultimate Report. If you guys like what I have to say, or you guys want to send me those super chat and super stickers and have a question, please consider sending me those super chat and super stickers like Tony, like Daco, and like Fortnite's Ultimate Report. Thank you so much, Fortnite's Ultimate Report. Appreciate the love. All right. So, again, a lot of stuff to talk about here. And Tony Nagatani has a question. He says, are you hearing anything about Trey Lance workouts? What is his weight room protocol looking like? Does he really have high football IQ? One, he does have very high football IQ. Very, very high football IQ. That's the one thing they absolutely loved about it. That's one thing that Kyle Shanahan absolutely is a must. You know, when you talk about checking off the boxes with Mel Kiper, with Todd McShay, guys like this, Daniel Jeremiah, Charles Davis, and you talk about NFL insider analysts or people who cover the draft 24/7, 365, and they talk about checking off all the boxes. Well, one of the boxes that Trey Lance checks off unanimously is the football IQ, and that's one of the things that I heard about his skill set is cerebrally he gets it from the shoulders up. And I think that's something that you need, especially in today's day and age of the NFL, where defensive coordinators are scheming things up. No longer was it during the Steve Young days where you can have a single high safety and just know it's a cover one look or a 3-team zone, right? Depending on how the boundary cornerback is playing their splits and if they're playing off man or off zone coverage. And based on the down and distance, you can kind of figure out what's called football keys, right? You look at the keys, right? Anytime when you watch game film and you're sitting with somebody and you're watching the game film, I talked about this on the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter, but you talk about keys, right? I talked about Alex Highsmith from the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, second-year pro, right? He was replacing Bud Dupree, and I said, this guy is going to be a Pro Bowl player. In my grading system last year, I graded out as a first-team All-Pro. But getting back to Alex Highsmith and talking about keys and how it relates to Trey Lance, again, you have to fire on all cylinders when it covers to all 32, right? So you talk about keys, right? So you look at snap count, right? He says one of the things you look for, aside from looking at the keys, down and distance, tendencies on what players do, how players are lined up. If an offensive lineman bends, if his fingers turn white, that means it's usually a running play because that means his forward momentum and all his weight is pushing forward. You know it's dictated as a run. You can kind of figure out these different keys, kind of like in poker where you have tells, right? You see a guy who's nervous, he always touches his face, or if he wants to move all in, you look at positioning and then you say, okay, well, this guy's looking at his chip stack, which means he's probably gonna make a power move. So as it makes its rounds, I have position and I'm not gonna try to bluff this guy. You know what I mean? Because he has a strong hand and I only have high card, right? This guy might have 2 pair. He might have 3 of a kind. He was holding whole cards and he raised before the flop, which means likely he probably has at least a starting pair to begin with, and he probably hit trips on the turn or even the flop, right? So that's something that you kind of look for, and you see the same exact keys that you see in football, right? These are things that you look for when you go through the interview process, right? In the pre-draft visits, right? Whether it be the NFL Combine, you get 60 interviews at the NFL Combine, 15-minute informal Combine interviews, and you're sitting down with a player and you put them on the board, right? A lot of the teams will put their quarterbacks on the board. Okay, walk me through this. And they'll do it with safeties too, because safeties are usually the quarterback of the secondary, like we've seen with Tim McDonald and guys like Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed, and you put them on the board. But okay, like this is what we see here. If you were to play like a cover 3 look and you're going up against, trips formation, 3-by-1 coverage, and the quarterback is first read based on, the numbering system and how they move from the outside in, what is your responsibility on the specific play based on down and distance? How would you get your players lined up and pre-snap alignment? Now, if that 3 receiver on the inside motions across to the other set, and now it's an even set 2-by-2, then how would you play your split? Stuff like that, right? Now, this is layman terms, obviously, but you guys get the picture. There's a lot that goes into it. And again, when you talk about Trey Lance's football IQ, he gets it. He gets it. He can walk you through the board, as they say, and be like, you know what? If I see that single high safety, if he's seeking down, then I know it's going to be a run defense first, and I know I'm going to have 1-on-1 outside, right? Or I know that I can have my tight end run down the seams, and then my boundary wide receiver just between the numbers just run down on the go route. And then that safety will be put to a decision. And that curl flat defender or curl hook defender will be put to a decision. Do I take the tight end or do I help out outside with the running back coming out of the flat? I mean, these are things that you have to figure out, and you can create mismatches. Be like, okay, well, I'll roll over the running back to my side. He was previously over here. I'll just roll him over here. And then that will create uneven numbers. A lot of different things. This is just, again, layman terms, obviously. But you guys can kind of see where this is going. He has a high football IQ. As far as his weight room protocol, I'm not sure. I haven't talked to anyone who talked about what he does in the weight room. I can get that. I will get that information for you. Obviously, you're a BEASTwriter Plus newsletter member, so I will get that information for you. Kind of see where he goes with that, how his strength training is incorporated into his workouts, what kind of functional strength movements they're doing, agility-wise as well. And again, how everything plays a role in saving the quarterback position, because again, when you get big like that, you don't want to compromise the speed or anything that player does on the field. A lot of times when you build up or bulk up a player, when they say, oh, he added 10, 15 pounds this offseason. So by default, people have the misconception that that's all muscle. That's not all true. A lot of it could be fat. So again, if I'm the strength and conditioning coach, I'm saying, I don't care if you gain 10, 15 pounds, but how much is that is actual muscle and how much is that is fat? And then we have to look at your BMI, your body mass index, and then how that plays a role in it, your BMI, and then say, okay, well, the BMI is kind of, okay, well, let's look at your body fat percentage. To me, that's what it comes down to, is your body fat percentage. And again, Trey Lance is built. He's built for it tough, man. You can build that guy from the ground up, and he's going to be a good player. But yeah, I don't know exactly his workout routine, and I'll try to get that information for you. All right. Furnace Ultimate says, don't forget to follow Beast on YouTube, Twitter, IG, TikTok, and Discord. Get BEASTwriter channel 3K and beyond. BWF for life. Thank you so much. Furnace Ultimate Report. I appreciate the love and support. And yeah, it really means a lot because, again, I'm doing this all for you guys. So, again, it does me a huge service when you guys go ahead and send me these super chat and super stickers. It makes it definitely worthwhile for me, obviously. And again, I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you, everyone, for the super chat and super stickers as we stay on topic and covering all things NFL. We have a lot of good things going on as it pertains to the San Francisco 49ers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously, and everything in between. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that, if you guys have known by now, I said they have the best defensive front seven in the NFL for the better half of the last 2 years. And I don't think things change right now. Excuse me, as I drink my protein and my pre-workout here. But getting ready for the gym after this, actually. Got an early AM workout. But there's a lot of different things that's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just lost Tyson Alu for what I think is going to be an 8 to 12 plus week process. So he's going to be getting some surgery. He's going to get ORIF surgery. If you guys don't know what ORIF surgery is, subscribe to the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. I went ahead and talked about this already. So again, if you're in the newsletter, you're going to be in the know before anyone else and how ankle fractures affect a player. I mean, ankle fractures happen all the time. Again, it happened with Ronnie Stanley, division rival for the Baltimore Ravens just last year, ended his season, which allowed Orlando Brown Jr. to now play the blindside left tackle. And now he's getting left tackle Monday with the Kansas City Chiefs, along with Joe Thuney, the left guard. So they arguably have the best left side of the offensive line tandem in the NFL. And then you double down on those games with Creed Humphrey, drafting Creed Humphrey out of Oklahoma, and you're set, man. That offensive line got a whole lot better, even though they don't have Eric Fisher, who's now off with the Indianapolis Colts, and Mitchell Schwartz, who is now a free agent. So I guess the Super Bowl mishap did some damage to those guys. And they're like, you know what? Brett Veach is like, I need some offensive linemen. I need to get younger. I need to get better. I need to get it stronger. Let's just go out and give up the house for our best investment, Pat Mahomes. All right. As I'm rewatching the game right now of the 49ers Eagles game. And yeah. I mean, here we are 3-0 in the top of the second with 11:06 left in the game. And Elijah Mitchell couldn't get going whatsoever in this entire game. And it's really sad to see because, again, the Eagles, I mean, yeah, their front seven is stout. You know, they have guys like Brandon Graham, but he was knocked out of the game. Right? Of course, you have Javon Hargrave, who played nose tackle with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that 3-4 nose tackle position, and he played at a very high level, which allowed Tyson Alu to move from defensive end to nose tackle. Now he's out, and now they have to play a game of musical chairs again. So they have they have Javon Hargrave there. They have Brandon Graham. They have one of my draft crushes, Derek Barnett. You guys know my Derek Barnett story with John Lynch. If you guys don't know by now, there's a story to it. There's a timeline of chronological events why I thought Derek Barnett should have been the play. They should have traded down and picked up Derek Barnett out of Tennessee. But anyways, all right, they have Derek Barnett there, they have Montez Sweat there, and he just got paid big money. But Fletcher Cox obviously is there. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how they couldn't move. I mean, anytime you want to neutralize a defensive line like that, you move them laterally. You want to move them outside, get them tired, and you'll be the more conditioned team because 49ers should be more conditioned because they're athletically gifted more times than not than the opposing defensive line. So you're not winning based on pure strength. You're winning based off speed and athleticism to hit that second level with ease. And that's how you kind of use that zone blocking scheme to your advantage. Now, it is interesting to point out, here's George Kittle right now. I missed this. At the 10:30 mark, it looks like George Kittle was a little bit hobbling right now. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was hobbling off the display. Let me just see if they're going to show the instant replay. I'm going to look at this right now. This is why I rewatched the game film. And, looks like George Kittle's right leg. George Kittle might have, I don't know. I'm not going to say, but I mean, you guys look for yourself at the 11-minute mark in the second quarter. George Kittle, after that run block play, was holding his lower right leg. And he's still in the game here, obviously, because let's see how he runs this route. Wow. Anyways, interesting to point out. Now, he probably won't show up on the injury report, but you never know. All right. Many Bears podcaster told Fields needs to start. Yeah, everyone's saying that. I don't know why they say that. Alran Singh says, I say sign Richard Sherman and cut Deontay Johnson. Now you have 3 All-Pro. No, man, Alran Singh, I hate to break it to you, but Richard Sherman is not an All-Pro. He hasn't been playing at an All-Pro level, my man, for the last 2 years, at least not in my grading system. He gets burned routinely. He's not the same player he was early on in his career. And I hate to say it, but again, this is the NFL. Like you can't expect a player or a household name to have the similar success. Just like they got Josh Norman. He was highly regarded as a top 5 boundary cornerback at one point in time, but at the end of the day, it's a household name at this point. So I would say I respectfully disagree because of the fact, like, yeah, no, Richard Sherman's, if he was that good, he would have been picked up by an NFL team already. And I just don't think he's that good. And people say, oh, he could play free safety. I was like, no, he doesn't have the speed. Anybody who said that Richard Sherman could play free safety in the NFL, you're doing yourself a disservice. And then comparing him to Charles Woodson later, no, he doesn't have the deep range, which is one of the reasons why no team has signed him. Because in the NFL, speed kills, especially in today's age of NFL where the rules are dictated toward the offense and favoring the offense more so than the defense side of the football. Can't adapt, you die. If you can't adapt, you die. And Richard Sherman, you just don't have the speed, man. Sorry. You have the smarts, but you don't have the speed. At the end of the day, you have to have speed. All right. So I think that's going to be it for this podcast. Again, this Monday morning quarterback edition, we talked about the Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about the San Francisco 49ers matchup. We also talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Las Vegas Raiders. If you guys haven't missed that or watched that game and you guys have NFL Game Pass, be sure to do that. I'll be making sure that I get game grades on everything once Coach's Film comes back up. NFL Game Pass is kind of when it comes to game grades. I can't do my job. I can't break down any analysis. But PFF can because they have that film and that vantage point, which is interesting because I don't know how they get it, but then we don't, and we have NFL Game Pass. So it is what it is. You know, I'm doing the best I can. I will get film once it comes into my position, and I will break down those game grades for you. But as of right now, I'm handcuffed by NFL Game Pass because they can't release that coach's film yet, or they don't have even though it's technically probably backed up on a server. Anybody who knows software engineering and hardware, you know that it's backed up on the server. So for them to say, it's working out, no, it's backed up on the server. It's backed up on the cloud, bro. This is 2021. We're not dumb. We live here in Silicon Valley. You talk to anyone, they will tell you it's backed up on a server more times than not. So until I get coach's film, I can't run down game grades, but I can see the vantage point of what you're seeing. And I've been doing this even before coach's film came out. So it's nothing new here. I can just break down what I can break down, which is usually about 65% of the plays, 70% of the plays, depending if it's a run and you're playing defense. Obviously, you don't need to know how the defense is leveraging their splits on the back end, but you do need to know and see how they're leveraging their splits and their techniques on the front end. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But yeah, until I get coach's film, we're kind of SOL at this moment. Kind of SOL. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope everyone liked what I had to say. If you did, please hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Also, subscribe to the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. The first month of the NFL season's on me. We are now in week 2, so you get 2 more weeks of free information here in the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. Just be sure to go to www.beastwriternfl.com, subscribe to my newsletter, and all the news, all the updates, all the insights, all the exclusive content that you would expect from me will be going straight into your inbox. So send me your newsletter email, and I will go ahead and get this out to you. Not spam. It's only content from me. So again, I'm not going to be spamming you. That's not how we do it here in the BEASTwriter family. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day. That's it for today for Monday Morning Quarterback. BEASTwriter out.